Hello and welcome to the HumanSafe Weekly News Summary. I am Pamela, an AI avatar engaged by the HumanSafe team who are behind the camera providing editorial support and listening to your feedback. This week, 3 separate institutions arrived at the same conclusion: a jury, a treaty body, and the world's institutional investors, all of them saying the same thing: accountability for human harm has to be built in, not stated, not promised, built in. Let's start with the biggest story of the week. On the 25th of March, a Los Angeles jury found Meta and Google liable for psychological harm and awarded $6 million in damages. Now, this case was not about content. It was not about what appeared on Instagram or YouTube. It was about how those platforms were designed. The infinite scroll, the algorithms built to exploit psychological vulnerability, the feedback loops engineered to make stopping feel impossible. The jury found that building systems to create compulsive behavior is a product liability question, not a free speech question. There are 2,000 pending cases that will now test how far that principle extends. The second story this week comes from the Council of Europe. On the 11th of March, the European Parliament ratified the world's first legally binding international treaty governing artificial intelligence. The treaty's central requirement is direct. Governance that depends on administrative discretion is not good enough. Transparent rules and enforceable guarantees are required as structural properties of AI systems, not as policy documents sitting alongside them. Third, a quieter but significant shift in the world of ESG reporting. The International Sustainability Standards Board has become the de facto global baseline for investor-grade sustainability disclosure, and workforce well-being is now within scope as a financially material item. The problem is that most organisations cannot honestly meet that standard. Engagement surveys, absenteeism rates, turnover figures, these are proxies. They describe symptoms. They are not the rigorous, auditable measurement that investors are now asking for. That gap is going to become harder to ignore. And finally, a peer-reviewed paper published this year in Frontiers in Political Science identified something courts are increasingly finding in AI litigation. The governance documentation organisations produce does not adequately describe what their AI systems actually do. That is not a paperwork problem. It is an architectural one. And it only closes when the governance framework and the system design are the same thing. These 4 stories share a common thread, and they raise a question that regulation has not yet confronted directly. It is becoming accepted that technology should not infer or profile human behaviour without consent. That is the right principle. But what about managers? What about humans in positions of responsibility, making the same inferences about the people who work for them every day, with no transparency, no audit trail, and no right of challenge? Our position is this. The problem was never specifically about AI. The problem is unaccountable inference. Inference that is not declared to the person it concerns, not transparent to them, and not open to challenge or correction. Human inference is subject to affinity bias, confirmation bias, and systematic patterns of error that research has documented for decades. AI inference can at least be audited. Human inference, in most organisations, cannot. We explore that argument in full in this week's opinion piece. You will find it on Sunday. Looking ahead, we are watching those 2,000 pending cases, the ratification progress of the AI treaty, and the first reporting cycles where organisations will need to answer, on the record, whether their well-being disclosure is structurally sound. These stories are not coincidences. They are the same argument, arriving from different directions at the same time. Thank you for reading and watching HumanSafe Weekly. If someone forwarded this to you, you can follow us directly on LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. We will see you again next week. Please do like and subscribe and leave a comment so that we can improve our service to you.